The saga in Panama continues. Last week, the defense secretary was in Panama to sign a defense deal with the Panamanians. U.S. troops headed to Panama. Deal struck with government there falls short of reinstalling American bases. What we were looking for were basing rights and the ability to build facilities. The Panamanians rejected that and have agreed to allow United States personnel to go on to Panamanian Defense Force facilities. We'll get into this article a bit. Critically, the United States deal advances amid uncertainties regarding Washington's recognition of Panamanian sovereignty, thrown into question by Trump's repeated calls to take back the Panama Canal since returning to office. A Spanish-language version of the April 8th joint U.S.-Panama statement said that Hegseth recognized the leadership and unalienable sovereignty of Panama over the Panama Canal and its adjacent areas. The English version, however, of the joint statement does not contain the same assertion. And when asked about the U.S. recognition of Panamanian sovereignty on Wednesday, Hegseth sidestepped the question, framing it about protecting Panama from malign influence. We all know who malign influence is in reference to. It's in reference to the Chinese. This deal is not over yet. The Panama port sale isn't over, but China's message to the Lee family is clear. This story is out of Channel News Asia. It discusses the pressure brought on the Lee family, who is the wealthiest family in Singapore, and the owners of C.K. Hutchinson, which is the owners of the port facilities on the, let me bring up the map, Fort Randolph, Coco Salvo Naval Base, Greta Island area. They own the port facilities there. Those are the port facilities that BlackRock was going to purchase from them for $19 or $20 billion. The Lee family has decided to back out of this deal because immense pressure has been brought to bear on them by the Chinese government. The state media has been attacking this family since the deal was announced. The Hong Kong Macau offices, let me bring this up, signaled its displeasure by reposting two articles published by Ta Kung Pao on March 26th and 27th, criticizing C.K. Hutchinson for capitulating to U.S. pressure and sacrificing national interests. I want to cite for you some very specific wording used here. High-level friction. Ta Kung Pao use of politically charged language in the commentaries has caused dismay among Hong Kong businessmen, with assertions of aiding and abetting evil. Aiding and abetting evil. Those are very strong words. Very strong words. In the past, such pressure tactics would have quickly forced any Hong Kong company to capitulate. The Lee family's ability to withstand the pressure for 2 weeks is truly extraordinary. On March 28th, China's leading business media outlets, including published stories starting that Pacific Centuries Group business operate independently. This is the son, Richard Lee, has resigned from all positions in C.K. Hutchinson since 2000. And he opposes the deal with BlackRock. And this article goes into how he was in high-level meetings with President Xi and some other people high up in the Communist Party in China who vehemently opposed this deal. In the past, such pressure tactics would have blah, blah, blah. Where is it here? It talks about the agency that gets involved here. Here it is. Until then, Beijing had hoped the intense media pressure would suffice to persuade the Lee family to pause the deal. Mindful of the potential impact of business confidence in Hong Kong and China if it intervened directly. And it did intervene directly, announcing that the following day CK relented amid reports that the State Administration for Market Regulation in Beijing would investigate. So all pressure was brought to bear on the Lee family, basically kiboshing this deal. At the end of the article, it just simply states, more likely it'll be the topic of discussion in an anticipated meeting between Chinese President Xi Jinping and Mr. Trump, expected to take place in the next few months. So that's basically the fate of the deal of the ports. However, the basing of U.S. military assets and forces in Panama assures that the Panama Canal will be ours strategically. There's not a lot of facilities that we would really require. As you can see here, this is a list of the facilities that the United States had during its owning of the Panama Canal Zone. And what's all that's really, in my estimation, needed is Howard Air Force Base and maybe Fort Kobe. Howard Air Force Base, old Air Force facility abandoned in 1999 after the United States pulled out of Panama. The base itself, clearly a lot of open space. And yes, they're not going to allow us to build facilities there for United States personnel, but perhaps Howard Air Force Base needs a little bit of infrastructure improvement. Maybe it needs guest facilities. Maybe a second runway. Hardening of facilities of infrastructure. The Panamanian Air Force needs to make sure that it's protected. And to show the strategic importance of Howard Air Force Base and Fort Kobe, I'm just going to pull out. This is the Pacific side of the Canal Zone. Panama City. The canal. You can see the importance of what Howard Air Force Base would be. That is probably the key strategic location the United States military would crave in Panama. And it's very likely that United States military personnel will be stationed there soon. And I don't see why the Panamanian Air Defense Force doesn't need a couple of improvements on us. We'll take care of that for you. And as far as that port deal, they'll renegotiate and something will be figured out. If it's not, I would not underestimate what the president said at the very beginning of this. It is in the strategic interest of the United States of America that the Panama Canal be in control of the American people. This should not be taken lightly. And this may be the first step in that. That's all I got for now. If you liked it, hit the like. Hope you'll subscribe. And share it with a friend. Let them know. U.S. troops are headed back to Panama, regardless of the port deal. Thank you.